DIYers, Freddie Gibbs recently sat on a podcast with Ryan Russillo, and he talked about a few different things in terms of his inspirations and all these things hip-hop related, but then he made his way to this point about something he's noticed in recent studio sessions. And it's got a lot of people scratching their head about what studio sessions he's talking about. In this clip, he talks about rappers who have become reliant upon ChatGPT to write their lyrics. Yeah, no clickbait here. Let me go ahead and let him cook. As they're talking about the quality of VHS, they're talking about the nostalgia, and then they just find their way to this conversation that is semi-related to rap. Peep this out.
Watermelons at the end of the show.
VHS.
Why? Rewinding?
Better movies, man. When you had to go buy the shit and wait 8 months for it to be out of the theater to get it, it was just better quality.
You just like the anticipation.
Yeah, I love the anticipation. Yeah, I miss just having a movie in the theater and being like, fuck, I can't wait to get that shit at home. Now this shit just in the movie theater and 2 weeks later it's on streaming. I might as well wait for the shit to be on streaming.
I know that's not the part of the video, but that's a valid point. I think there are people that are attempting to change that, right? When I think of how the rollout, and we know this is rare, but the rare rollout of the Clips album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, was a very traditional and a very patient rollout. There wasn't just this easy payoff. There wasn't this, we're dropping this surprise album and then we're going to go on this media run and then let it die out. No, this is something that is still ongoing even as they're on tour. There is content that supports the content, that supports the content, that supports the reactors, that supports the clippers. Not the LA Clippers, but the folks that clip the videos. And there's something to it that feels very analog. There's something to it that feels very VHS. Something that in this dopamine-induced society makes people have to use patience. And what they find when they use patience, just like when you go to a restaurant, if you give people time to cook properly, the food tastes better.
I don't know if we'll. I think there's something about things being harder that did make you appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Like you wanted to go to the theater, and if you missed it in the theater, it was like if you didn't see Jurassic Park in the theater.
And it also made the quality of the work better. I think that people worked harder on the films, on the music, when they knew it was, it wasn't so much of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just even with rap, like when I first started rapping, like I would say like being a rapper was more of a prestigious kind of thing. Now anybody could be a fucking rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. Leave it to Freddie Gibbs and tell it like it is. This is very, very true. Leave it to Freddie Gibbs and tell it like it is. The bar has definitely been lowered over the years. And that's not to say that there's not folks out there that still abide by the traditional rules, that are still pushing the boundaries of what is possible. But it's a very real statement in that, there's so many people who feel like they're a few songs away from having a rap career. And there used to be sort of this members only type of culture that existed amongst lyricists, that existed amongst folks who wanted to be considered a rapper. You had to earn your way. Now it's something that I think a lot of folks, unless they truly take it serious as a craft, some people feel embarrassed to tell people they're a rapper because of all the embarrassments that people immediately associate with that title. But it is a relief to hear so many lyricists that have shown up this year and have really showed what the difference is. All them folks that went viral and got signed, all them people that, got paraded around on magazines and media as if they're the same thing as the people who have worked their asses off to become who they are. You notice how the quality is very, very different. Notice how the reaction is different. Yeah, that's what happens when professionals enter the room. Continue, though.
Or a podcaster.
You said that shit, not me.
No, I'm just.
It is a lot of fucking podcasters. I'll be like, God damn, you got a podcast too? Shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck what you think.
It's ruining for the rest of us.
It is, man.
I introduced myself as a
rap.
podcaster. They're like, cool.
Nah, you got it, man. You got this shit down to a science. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't, though.
I didn't think about that. Is podcaster the new rapper now? Is that the new rapper? Like when you used to be like, hey, what you do? Oh, I rap. Oh, God. Here we go. Is podcaster the new rapper? Is that? Leave it down below in the comment. Is podcaster the new? I really don't want to tell you I got a podcast because you're going to think I'm one of them kind of podcasters, but I actually got a good one and I got an audience. And podcaster title is the new rapper title.
So you think rap is similar, like obviously the technology, like
Correct.
you can figure out a way to do it.
They got AI rap now, man.
Uh-oh.
I don't even believe nobody that write that I don't even believe if you really even make it anymore because motherfuckers I've been in studios with motherfuckers and motherfuckers is ChatGPT and this shit.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I wish I knew who to credit for it, but I saw and I glanced as I was looking at this video popping up in the comments on Twitter, and someone did bring up that Freddie Gibbs worked on the Vultures 1 album with Kanye West. And we know how unapologetic Kanye West has been about his AI usage in his music videos and even in some of his music and utilizing different voices, even though, you know, the people are not in the actual studio. Whatever the case, he's been very unapologetic about his use. I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the sessions that he may be talking about. Oh my God, can you imagine? You finally get in a studio session with the Kanye West. Say you've been looking forward to that, despite all the nonsense and crazy shit that's been out here. You finally get in there just to realize that most of the time is spent with him typing into ChatGPT as you sit on the couch and wonder when it's time to start making some music. Regardless, after the story we just did about a Baby Chief did it, and he just, you know, he made a statement where he was saying, I'm not using ChatGPT. He felt that heat. He changed, he switched gears. Oh my God. Oh man. You get encouraged to see people showing up and showing out with their skill set, and then there's another part that just makes you just breathe supremely heavy when you're like, it's not about these artists embracing technology. It's inevitable. It's about there not being a desire to want to do the thing and to not push your own limits. Like, I would hate to see what the next generation of rappers looks like that has been so reliant upon ChatGPT, so reliant about AI technology that is still internet based, that it get into a studio and the Wi-Fi dies and the music does in the process as well.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
So much so, it's gotten to this point that Freddie Gibbs is saying, I don't even trust when niggas said that they wrote anything. Oh boy. Oh man, say it ain't so.
And I'll be like, I'm like, what in the fuck? And I'm like, damn, how long am I gonna be able to do this shit? Because I'm really actually making fresh shit. How long I'm gonna be able to do it when this motherfucker's in the studio typing into a computer getting their lyrics?
Bring back bullying.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Bring back bullying. Bring back shame. We need to not be so inclusive in this conversation. If you cannot respect the art, and I mean this about any resource, whether it's a dictionary, whether it's a thesaurus, if that becomes your entire personality, my friend, you don't have one. If ChatGPT becomes your entire personality in terms of how you creatively come up with ideas in collaboration, fine. There's limitations, but fine. But when that becomes your entire personality and it's dictated by your ability to prompt, one must question, why in the hell do you want to do this? Maybe your passion is actually in that technology. Maybe your passion is somewhere that develops that technology. Why do you want to be in the arts when there's people who respect the technology, respect its capabilities and its ability to even help us as creatives evolve. Why would you want to be involved in something where the people here who set the standards, that are pushing for the next level of creativity, enjoy? They enjoy all the mundane details. They enjoy how challenging coming up with an idea is. They enjoy the brainstorming process. It's not painful. And if it is painful, it's the kind of pain that we like. It's like tattoos for some people. Have we gotten so soft as a society that we don't even want the pain of writer's block, the pain of beat block, the pain, and the satisfaction that comes along with it when you finally do break through with an idea? I stick with my theory that brains are going to become significantly smaller over the next 30 years. Ugh.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me on like screenwriting. They're like, "Are you using ChatGPT now, screenwriting?" I was like, "God, no! Like, it's hard enough as it is. Like, why would you even want to put yourself through the process of doing something like that? Then they just be like, hey, pump out some just generic dialogue." For
People lazy, man. You know what I'm saying? We in a lazy day and age, man. Art is dying. You know what I'm saying? When you got to ask the computer and shit to write your lyrics, shit is whack.
When you sit down to write, like, do you just go old school notepad? Are you sitting there? Are you typing up on a laptop? Like, what happens?
I go to sleep.
And you dream in lyrics?
Then I wake up and it's ready to go.
I don't blame him. I don't know if I'm reaching here, but that sounds like his form of gatekeeping. I don't blame you. Hold on to that skill set, Freddie Gibbs, that has taken you whatever amount of years that you've been doing this. Hold on to it, because that is more sacred. And that is something that needs not be into the brain of ChatGPT. It needs not to be added for someone else to just absorb and say, that's all I must do, then let's go ahead and do that. If that is your form of gatekeeping, by all means, continue to do it. But he's right. Folks are getting lazy. And I know for some people this may be discouraging, especially if you genuinely love what you do. But I'll tell you, for somebody like myself, I've been writing more than I've ever written before, right? In my 20 years of doing this, I've been writing more than ever before. I have more literature than I've ever had about how to really structure my writing and elevate it to another level. I've been reading more Langston Hughes, more James Baldwin than I ever have before. And I have such an appreciation for things that have been touched by humans that have made themselves vehicles for ideas that sometimes are inexplicable and bigger than just their human presence, right? Obviously, I say it's God that brings these ideas through them as a vessel. Whatever that whatever that spiritual experience is something that I hold so sacred. And I'm so grateful to be in a headspace at 40 to say, what's the next level of elevation going to look like for me? Regardless of what's going out into the world, regardless of the nerds that are like, well, you'll be obsolete in 5 years. Shut up. Shut up. You'll be bored in the next 15 minutes. When you realize the soulless approach that you have taken, the soulless intent that you have is not sustainable, there will still be the creatives who will find ways to evolve into their process, to even utilize technology where it should be, as a resource, not as your personality. Oh boy. But yeah, you can obviously tell. And that is something that I don't care how pro AI you are, that is something that's undeniable. Folks are becoming more lazy than ever before.
It's a good thing you're a rapper. That's an awesome ability.
Yeah, I couldn't like drive a fucking forklift.
Like, who's got some good rhymes? Freddie. Forklift Freddie.
That's hilarious. Okay, so I want to take it to one more place before we end this. And we've covered this gentleman's writings before. Mr. Tamanashi always has a brilliant word to share. And I want to share this post that he put up on Instagram because I think it speaks to really not just the necessity of continuing in your art form, but also as it relates to us as black creators, as black writers, as black lyricists, as black songwriters. This is important because of the history that he's going to speak about in this particular section of a book. So he's released a new book, and he put one of the excerpts up here. He said, in his title, it says, "Put it in a book, a nigga will never find it." There's this old white man proverb that goes, if you want to hide something from a black man, you should put it in a book. This sentence holds layers of truth, pain, and deliberate erasure. It is not just a statement. It is an indictment of history, of the systematic denial of black literacy, of the deliberate suppression of black intellectualism. Continuing on, it says, for centuries, black literature was destroyed, plagiarized, and actively suppressed. Black people were beaten, imprisoned, and killed for attempting to read or write. The publishing industry, dominated by white gatekeepers, never saw value in black authorship, not because black thought lacked depth, but because acknowledging it would disrupt the narrative that black people were meant to labor, not lead intellectually. Even today, I didn't know this, black authors make up only 5% of published books. The industry still overlooks black voices, dismisses black readership, and fails to prioritize black stories in mainstream spaces. I instantly think about what feels like the push for anti-intellectualism and what we've covered here in great detail and the faces that they throw out there to be the faces of anti-intellectualism. Bookstores reflect this reality. Black literature is often relegated to a single shelf, a niche section, rather than integrated into the broader literacy landscape. This is the chicken or egg dilemma. Does the thinking black man write first or learn to read first when both were historically denied? The truth is he must do both simultaneously. He must write even when the world does not read him, and he must read even when the world does not publish him. This is the paradox of black intellect, a cycle that has existed since literacy itself was weaponized against black men. The thinking black man must write even when he is unread, because the words must exist, whether the world acknowledges them or not. I think about all of the genius writers that went through this age of dumbing it down, this age of you will not see success in music if you don't have the ability to speak lower than what your skill set, your God-given gift is asking you to do. I think about so many now that I'm hoping are recognizing the shift that is happening. He must document his thoughts, his philosophies, his analysis, not because they are immediately recognized, but because they must be preserved. They must be present. They must exist for those who will come after him. He must read even when he is unseen, because understanding is power, because knowledge does not need permission to be accessed, because the refusal to publish him does not mean he is without literature to consume, to dissect, to challenge, to expand upon. The world has never waited for black men to think. It has never invited them into academic spaces, never sought their words, never prioritized their philosophies, but that does not mean black men or black thought must wait. That does not mean black thought must ask for approval before it declares itself necessary, undeniable, transformative. And this is the book, Black Thought. Shout out to Mr. Tamanashi. Well said. Man, oh man. I know that this took a turn beyond just AI, but when I think about my people, when I think about this traditionally black art form, this foundationally black art form, and how important it is to telling our stories, how important music has always been. I mean, even since we think about slavery times and we think about how messages were sent covertly through the music, how it was delivered covertly. When I think about now, right, how we still are mastering nuance, mastering language in what we do. And we're still sending messages to one another, right? I feel like songs like "A Not Like Us" is still coded with so much that the general population either doesn't care about, either doesn't want to even acknowledge, doesn't even know it exists, and that's fine. But we gotta be on point. We gotta be on point. And I hope that we recognize that the powers that be have been specifically attacking music for a long time now. And they've been specifically attacking hip hop, rap music, and trying to find their best to make it as anti-intellectual as possible, and been putting as many faces as they can that look like us to speak for us, even though they don't speak or think like us. It's unfortunate. I just say this message to any young creator: continue to write to your heart's desire. Continue to push your art form to its highest level. Do not be turned into a zombie. Do not allow laziness to take over. Your art form still fucking matters. Your words matter. Even if they're not being streamed, even if your views are not hella high, even if your shows are not selling out, your words still matter. Try not to get wrapped up in all that is nonsense and anti-intellectualism that occurs. We need you more now than ever, especially as there are people out here who want you to believe that your art is obsolete with the rise of AI and technology. No, this is when we need you more so than ever before. Rappers using AI. Yeah. Didn't think it would take this direction, but we're here. DIYers, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you're thinking.